Hi, I'm Jen and I do things. And today I am updating you on my family's move from the East Coast of the US to Vancouver Island in British Columbia. I have a husband and I have two teenagers, and we are trying to make that move next summer. But in order for things to go as smooth as possible, we need a bill in the Parliament to go through, and that is Bill C3, but it has gotten very complicated over the past few days. So there's some good news and then there's some bad news. Let's talk about the good news first. So the good news is that the bill passed the report stage in Parliament yesterday. If the bill goes through, my mare will be restored of her citizenship. She was born in Ontario in the 1920s. My dad will also be restored of his citizenship that was stripped of him because he didn't apply to hold on to his citizenship that he got as a birthright. Because they are lost Canadians, I will also get Canadian citizenship. The bill also talks about subsequent generations, so my children would then be Canadian citizens. So we have already filed our paperwork and we are hoping that everything goes through, and we are one step closer to that, and it is extremely exciting. Now, one thing that's important to note here that there's lots of misinformation about is that this is a forever thing, that this can carry on for generations and generations and generations. That is not true. There is a rule that is baked into this bill to prevent citizenship being passed to 10th and 14th generations without any connection to Canada. It is a 3-year rule, and it applies to anyone born on or after the date that the law goes into force. So if my kids had kids, it would apply to them. My grandkids would have to prove that their parents, my children, lived in Canada for at least 3 years of their life in order to qualify for Canadian citizenship. So the only people who are going to be granted Canadian citizenship under C3 are people that have a direct tie to Canada, to a Canadian lineage, that should have been citizens if they hadn't been stripped of their citizenship due to these laws that were found to be unconstitutional. The other piece of misinformation that I have seen, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but don't you have to have a Canadian residence in order to get a health card? Don't you have to prove your residency? I know I looked up when we were talking about moving there that we can't get a health card at all until we have permanent residency or we are citizens, and we have to live in the province for like 3 months at least in order to get that health card. So if I'm living in, let's say, North Dakota or Minnesota or in New York State, I can't just cross the border and get Canadian healthcare. It's because I won't have a health card. I also learned that if you've never lived in Canada, you can't vote. So if people outside of Canada gain Canadian citizenship, they could get a Canadian passport. They could say that they have Canadian citizenship, but they can't benefit from Canada unless there is a residence, unless you live there for a period of time. You can't take without giving. You know what I'm saying? And there's protections in place for that. And I think that's where a lot of the opposition to Bill C3 comes, is people think, that the resources are already strained. We don't want people just coming in and taking without giving. And there are guardrails in place to protect that. And it's kind of frustrating to watch it be talked about like that, because it's not how it works. And I think that fear-mongering is huge. And we see that here in the US, that there's a lot of fear-mongering from people who talk like they know what they're talking about, and they convince people that there's something to be afraid of. And fear is such a strong motivator. And I think that Canada is ahead of the game in that you teach your children about misinformation. There was a really interesting comment that I got when I did my react video to the house hippo, right? And someone was like, well, didn't they teach you about, finding misinformation in school? And it's like, no, they taught us misinformation in school. We were taught that Christopher Columbus was a great man who discovered America. We were taught the propaganda. We weren't taught to watch out for it. We were taught to believe it. So that's something that I feel like Canada has as an incredible advantage over US citizens, is that you are better able to spot things that we are not able to, which is part of the reason why our country is in the place that we are currently in. So anyway, back to C3 just very quickly. If for some reason the budget doesn't pass and it triggers an election, C3 may be dead, but at the same time, there was that court order. So whatever the new parliament is, they're gonna have to get things going because there's a deadline that they have to meet. And if for some reason they don't meet that deadline, then the court order will still stand and things will still go through for me and my kids. But where that could mess us up is it could cause significant delays, and it would be much more likely that I would have to enter Canada as a visitor and explain my situation as far as my Canadian citizenship at the border, that I wouldn't have my citizenship when I got there. Also, my oldest Phoenix would probably have to register as an international student at UVic, which is where we're hoping that they end up going. And that would be $36,000 Canadian for an international student versus about $6,000 for a Canadian citizen. So that would be not fun to pay that, but you do what you got to do. Someone else asked about cost of college tuition here versus there. The University of Maryland, which is Phoenix's choice before we went to go move to Vancouver Island, in Canadian dollars, we would pay $16,000 a year for an in-state tuition for Phoenix to go there. So it's about twice as much to go to University of Victoria. Of course, if they end up at Camosun, it's going to be a lot cheaper, but it's still pretty expensive to go to Camosun as an international student. I'll put all the stuff on the screen for you so I don't do the math wrong, but it's all right here. So that is the update on the immigration piece. Now I want to update you on what's happening here on the ground in Maryland. We are still updating our house and trying to get it ready to sell. We're boringifying it. We're making it less interesting because that's what our realtor has told us to do, but we're not spending $50,000 anymore. My husband has painted our dining room. He has now painted our powder room on the main floor. It is so boring compared to what it was, but it is what it has to be. He has also painted our bathroom up in our bedroom. We have a separate bathroom for the two of us, and that has now been painted. It used to be like a pink color, but I didn't do a great job of doing a before picture. Now it is a boring, creamy, taupey kind of color. So it is what it is. Got to do what we got to do. We also had to take down all of our paintings and things, and those are not going back up per the request of our realtor to not put those back up. Oh, and then one more thing. I've been asking my husband to do this forever, to put a new utility sink in the laundry room. So we have a brand new utility sink in the laundry room that needed to be done. It was broken. The plumbing was broken. It was a mess. So now that is fixed as well. But as far as paperwork and everything, nothing has happened since the last time I talked to you. But I will keep you posted because we're still waiting on to see if Phoenix gets into UVic. Of course, we've submitted our citizenship paperwork. So all we know is that it's been received. It's sitting, we don't know. We've started looking at housing on Vancouver Island, and we are so excited comparatively to what we're paying here in US dollars. In full transparency, we live in a very big house. Our house is about 5,800 square feet. It is huge. So the mortgage that we have here compared to renting a house on Vancouver Island, it's actually significantly cheaper, but we are going to be significantly downsizing to maybe a 2,000 square foot house, 2,500 square foot house. And I think we are definitely okay with that. Our first house was like 1,000 square feet. So we're fine downsizing quite a bit. Proportionally, as far as the size of the house, we're going to be paying more, but it looks like based on our budget, we are going to be able to get a beautiful place to live on Vancouver Island if we make it there. But anyway, that is it for this update. Thank you so much for following along and for all of your feedback and all of your comments. It really means so much to me. I read all of them. I don't respond all of them, but I do read all of them. And I just want to thank you so much. And I hope that you continue to be happy and healthy and well. And I will see you in a video soon. Bye.